Look at this fool mourning over the weakest of all of them. Quote, Starscream. Skybound, Transformers, Volume 1, Issue 1. Previously in Transformers, Optimus Prime was supposed to have led the Autobots to victory. Instead, the fate of Cybertron is unknown, and his allies have crash-landed far from home alongside their enemies, the Decepticons. As these titanic forces renew their war on Earth, one thing is immediately clear. The planet will never be the same. A new start. We see several strange, seemingly disconnected moments before and transitioning to a skeevy bar where young Spike Witwicky tries to wake his dad, Sparkplug, from a drunken slumber. The barman lets him know that the elder Witwicky has been at the bar since noon, and a disappointed Spike tells the old man that he's on his way to go stargazing. The old man heads off to work at night shift at the local power plant, with Spike and his friends Carly set off to climb Hangman's Rock. That's where they discover a strange cavern the hard way by falling into it during a rock slide and an alien spaceship full of what looks to be dead giant robots. And then another robot enters, programming a giant computer he calls Teletran. I wish information about the world and the beginning of the process of rebuilding the destroyed mechs. Starting rebuilding process with Starscream. When Starscream blasts the fallen Bumblebee in the head, Jetfire is shocked, unaware. While he has been away from Cybertron, a terrible civil war has been raging on the planet. When he protests, Starscream shoots him as well. Soon Optimus Prime and Ratchet are revived and the battle ensues as Soundwave and Skywarp also emerge from their slumber. A fight between Optimus Prime and Starscream. Optimus Prime clotheslined Starscream, shooting beings while they lie helpless. Starscream, I thought you were a warrior. Unlike you, Optimus Prime, I do whatever it takes. Then Optimus Prime suplexes Starscream. Run. Spike, what's he gonna see? What are you? I am Spike. Get behind me, small creatures. Smeltering Autobot. Don't even think about it, buddy. Ratchet, Optimus, it's good to see you. Scatter, Autobots. Take cover. Skywarp. Teletron. One is reconstructing us randomly. Bring our fellow warriors over here. On it. Just our luck. The Decepticons got activated first. Too many of them have been awkward. We must retreat. But our brothers. My new form. There should be some sort of trailer. Can you load our warriors in there? It will be tight, but go. I'll buy you time. Extermination protocol. Active. Boom! Optimus! Bombings and fire. Suddenly, Optimus Prime sees in the fire his friend, Bumblebee. Oh no, oh no. Look at this fool mourning over the weakest of them all. Soundwave, help me. Ravage, activate. Spike, what are you doing? We don't even know what side he's on. Carly, just push. Ravage, rip out his eyes as Optimus shoots Ravage in his eyes. No, just die already. I'm sorry, Teletron. We are outnumbered and outgunned as Optimus has no choice and blast Teletron. No! Optimus, we're loaded up. Whoa. As Optimus Prime takes the human beings outside and jumps into the flame. What's your malfunction, Soundwave? We all need power. Our Energon reserves are nearly empty. We'll deal with that later. They're getting away. Ratchet, transform and roll out. Wait. That's a cliff. We're driving off a cliff. The Decepticons try to pursue the Autobots, but only Starscream has enough Energon to truly give chase. When Jetfire tries to help the Autobots, Starscream shoots him down, gravely wounding him. The Decepticons fall back when he realizes he is alone. The Decepticons agree that he needs to go and retrieve parts and power, otherwise they will not be able to revive the other Decepticons. Elsewhere, Optimus, Ratchet, and the humans hide out in an old quarry where Jetfire apologizes for not saving Cybertron before he presumably dies. Meanwhile, Starscream attacks the power plant where Sparky works. The workers flee, but he manages to get his hands on one of them and proceeds to crush him to the death. So pathetic. To be continued in Skybound, Transformers, Volume 1, Issue 2. Spike, they've wasted no time. The Decepticons are attacking your home. They'll take the Energon from anywhere they can get it, and happily will do so by force. We have no choice. I brought our war to this beautiful place, even if by accident. It's my duty to now defend it. Quote Optimus Prime. Skybound, Entertainment, Transformers, Volume 1, Issue 2, Energon Universe. Optimus Prime walks through a wood marveling at the beauty of Earth, the plants, the animals, the scenery. He finds it all breathtaking. However, his serenity is interrupted upon hearing a crunch underneath his foot. He stepped on a small deer, killing it. Optimus leans down, cradling the creature with remorse. Spike emerges from the woods and reassures Optimus that it was an accident. Optimus tells Spike that this world is so fragile compared to his own. Seeing the Autobot leaders despair, Spike decides to change the subject of the conversation and ask Optimus about his name. Optimus tells him that the Prime title denotes he is a leader of the Autobots and was passed to him by the previous leader of their kind. Optimus in turn inquires about Spike's name, who reveals that his mom used to call him Spiky before she passed away due to his hair always sticking up as a child. Optimus is confused. He's never heard the terms mom or dad before, though he does know the concept of family. Spike then asks Optimus about where he comes from, prompting Optimus to tell him about Cybertron and the war between the Autobots and the Decepticons that has raged for the past 2 centuries. The Autobots' forces eventually dwindled from the Decepticons' relentless onslaught to the point where they were forced to flee the planet aboard the Ark. However, their escape was attacked by Megatron and the Decepticons. The last thing Optimus saw before they crashed into the mountain was Earth. Optimus thanks Spike for assisting him during the battle, saying that he's not sure they would have escaped without him. Spike in turn offers condolences for Bumblebee. Their somber heart-to-heart is soon interrupted by a newly reactivated Cliffjumper, whom Ratchet was able to successfully repair. Optimus warmly greets his old friend, but Cliffjumper is not nearly as taken with Earth as the commander, freaking out upon seeing Spike and Carly bumping into the trees. Carly tells him to calm down. After all, if anyone should be freaking out about the giant robots from space, it's her. This gets Cliffjumper calmed down and the two shake hands. Inside the quarry, Ratchet has set about trying to revive the other Autobots, but has used up the last of their Energon reserves, fixing Cliffjumper. Optimus considers using the Matrix of Leadership to replenish their Energon, but Ratchet says they can't. Matrix is connected to the Prime's own life force, and if they lose him, they lose everything. Cliffjumper remarks that if they're running out of Energon, the Decepticons will hopefully have the same problem. Meanwhile, the power plant, Sparkplug and Davy work at a police officer is surveying the damage caused by Starscream's attack and taking statements. Not believing the plant's manager's story about a giant robot, the officer says they'll get some detectives out here to investigate, but a panicked Sparkplug insists they need to call in the army. As the officer tries to reassure Sparkplug, Sky Warp drops from the sky, destroying his patrol car. Behind him descend Starscream and Soundwave, carrying an energy transfer module stolen from the Ark, which will allow them to more efficiently convert Energon from the planet. The officer tries to shoot at Starscream, much to Sparkplug's protest, only for Starscream to step out on him. As the Decepticons begin to drain the planet of his energy, Soundwave intercepts a transmission from the U.S. military asking a nearby pilot under the call sign Frosting to intercept their attack. Amused at the idea of the squishes trying to fight them, Starscream goes to intercept the fighter. He dogfights with them for a bit before transforming and smacking the jet down. The pilot and his ride-along eject, but Starscream catches up to Frosting and squashes him in front of his hand. The other soldier activates a button on the parachute, converting it into a wing jetpack. As Starscream advances, he pulls out his gun and fires at the Decepticon, getting a lucky shot at his eye before retreating. Starscream opts to give up on annoyance, and Duke flies away, fight another day. Back at the plant, Sparkplug takes one of the patrol cars as he's chased down by Skywarp. Before he can catch the human, however, Frosting's F-18 comes crashing down on top of him, and Soundwave allowing Sparkplug to slip away. The resulting explosion is seen by the Autobots, and Carly and Spike realizing that the plant is under attack. Feeling responsible for bringing their war to their planet, Optimus opts to face the Decepticons despite Ratchet's protests about their need to find their own energy sources. Optimus assigns Cliffjumper to stay with Ratchet and protect their sleeping comrade. Spike decides to come along to help his dad, which Optimus reluctantly allows. Carly tries to stop him, saying they need to get back home to their parents, but Spike insists. She decides to leave for home alone. As she drives back towards town, she is spotted by Laserbeak, who identifies the image of Optimus Prime Carly drew on her van earlier that day. She arrives home to find Sparkplug already there, dressed in an old army fatigues and carrying several guns. Carly asks where her dad is, and Sparkplug answers, they killed him. Davy is dead. Notes: having been merely hinted at in the last issue, the flashback to the war on Cybertron gives us a first look at Megatron through his whereabouts are still unknown. While mentioned but not seen last issue, this issue gives us a first appearance of Laserbeak still out scouting for the new sources of energy. The issue confirms that what Jetfire alluded to last issue, that unlike most incarnations of the G1 story, the war has only been raging for 2 centuries instead of the most traditional 4 million years. Transformer references. Cliffjumper compares Spike to a Turborat, a form of Cybertron wildlife. The first appeared in the 4th issue of Tom Socially and John Barber's Transformers vs. G.I. Joe. The police cars of the FPD are quite clearly based on Prowl, retaining his Japanese police car, his color layout, twin red siren lights, and opposed to red and blue, and the highway patrol makings on the back, none of which really makes sense on an American City Patrol car, but we'll let that slide. G.I. Joe references. First Sergeant Conrad S. Hauser, codenamed Duke, who makes his first appearance in Energon Universe in this issue ahead of his own title next month. While G.I. Joe doesn't exist yet in the continuality, it seems the U.S. military has been developing some high-tech tools such as jetpack Duke uses. This could be a new take on the Jet Mobile Propulsion Unit Jump jetpack from the G.I. Joe toy line, which Duke famously used in the opening sequence of the G.I. Joe the movie. Real-world references. Frosting's name is painted on the side of Jet's cockpit, a real practice comment on the United States fighter aircraft. It's worth noting, however, that the formatting is slightly off. His rank and full name should be on one line, which is callsign printed below. Instead, it lists simply his rank, first name, callsign on the same line. Errors. Among the deactivated Autobots in the query is Sideswipe, who appears to be miscolored as Mirage, and a bot who appears to be either Inferno or Grapple, with their wheels on the side of their legs rather than their foot, in the colors of Prowl. This issue contains a 4-page preview for Duke number 1. Next issue, Skybound Entertainment, Transformers, Volume 1, Issue 3, Energon Universe. Your kind have played with this planet enough. I will have no more of it. Quote, Optimus Prime, right before ripping his own arm off. Skybound Entertainment Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 3, Energon Universe. Learning her father has been killed, Carly asks Sparkplug how it happened, and Sparky tells her he was crushed by a giant robot. Carly realizes it must have been Starscream and begins to tell Sparkplug about her and Spark's discovery of the Ark. Sparkplug desperately asks where Spike is and when they are attacked by Laserbeak. Sparkplug fires at the robot bird only to get tossed around the room for his efforts. Laserbeak then corners Carly, but she is rescued by the timely arrival of Cliffjumper, who delivers a swift kick to Laserbeak's face. As Cliff approaches Carly, however, the Sparkplug yells at him to get away before firing a shotgun at Autobot's face. Carly tries to get him to stop, but Sparkplug pulls her into the police car he commandeered, and they drive off. In the Ark, an irritated Starscream berates Soundwave for not fixing Teletron 1. Soundwave tells him that while they have enough Energon, the raw materials they gathered aren't advanced enough to repair the computer. When Soundwave begins to mention what Megatron would do, Starscream slaps him, repeating his order to not say his name. Soundwave receives an alert from Laserbeak, and Starscream orders Skywarp to deal with it. Sparkplug takes Carly to Veterans Bar. Carly asks why they're there, and Sparkplug tells her that the Decepticons are jamming all phone, radio, and internet signals, so they need reinforcements from somewhere. Inside, Danny and a group of other veterans have heard the explosion and already formed a small militia to defend themselves. Carly tries to tell Sparkplug that they aren't all bad, but Sparkplug says that he's been in war. When the shooting starts, people die. At that moment, Cliffjumper appears in the doorway and Sparkplug unloads a machine gun on him. Skywarp then arrives, which the humans mistake for Cliffjumper having called in reinforcements, and they begin firing on both. On the outskirts of town, Optimus and Spike see smoke coming from the battle, and Optimus quickly heads to intervene. When Skywarp shaking off the human bullets like they're nothing, Danny decides they need something bigger. He and Sparky pull out a bazooka before the bar caves in on itself. Skywarp approaches Cliffjumper for the kill, but Carly tries to step in and defend him, much to Skywarp's amusement. The pair are saved by a timely intervention of Optimus, who rams into Skywarp in his truck mode. Optimus transforms and tells Spike to take cover while he deals with the Decepticons. Skywarp and Optimus Prime engage in a fierce battle, exchanging shots as they face off. During the confrontation, Skywarp leverages his teleportation ability to swiftly strike at Optimus Prime, adding a strategic dimension to the intense combat. Skywarp persists in employing his teleportation skills, gaining the upper hand in the ongoing battle against Optimus Prime. As the conflict intensifies, Spike shouts in dismay only to witness Skywarp deliver a thunderous roundhouse kick, sealing his dominance in the fight. However, Optimus Prime swiftly turns the tide by lifting Skywarp above his head in a gorilla press, showcasing his strength and resilience in the midst of this intense confrontation. Following the gorilla press, Optimus Prime decisively hurls Skywarp to the ground, simultaneously executing a powerful elbow strike, further asserting his control in the battle. Optimus Prime, wielding his Energon axe, skillfully pins Skywarp down and calmly requests him to surrender. With a sense of respect, Optimus acknowledges Skywarp's effort in the battle, stating, "You fought hard, Skywarp. Let us bring this conflict to an end now." However, their duel is abruptly interrupted as Sparky and Danny intervene, firing a bazooka at Optimus. The blast severely damages his right arm, adding an unexpected twist to the ongoing battle. This allows Skywarp to regain his footing and blast Optimus back. Sparky tells the militia to pour their fire on both of the Cybertrons as Spike runs towards the wounded Optimus. As the intense battle unfolds, unfortunately becomes inadvertently caught in the crossfire and is shot. Optimus Prime explains, "Spike, no." Upon seeing Spike on the ground, his concern evident. Simultaneously, his father, distraught, witnessed his son bleeding out on the ground, intensifying the gravity of the situation. "Hold your fire! Hold your fire!" Sparky urgently commands, surprising the other militia members as he intervenes. In the midst of the confusion, Sparky notices his son bleeding out, adding a heightened sense of urgency and concern to the situation. Skywarp taunts Optimus as he menacingly advances towards Spike, intending to crush him beneath his formidable force. However, Optimus swiftly takes action, tackling Skywarp to the ground in a decisive move to protect Spike from impending harm. Amidst the chaos of the battlefield, a moment of desperate determination seizes Optimus Prime, fueled by an unwielding will that eclipses the shearing pain coursing through him. Prime makes a visceral decision. With a forceful and almost primal motion, he tears off his own injured arm. The battlefield bears witness to this raw display of sacrifice and determination. Holding his severed limb aloft, Prime doesn't succumb to the agony. Instead, he transforms it into a makeshift club, a symbol of defiance against the encroaching darkness. In a spectacular and dramatic sequence, he unleashes a relentless assault on Skywarp, each swing of the improvised weapon echoing with the thunder of resolve. The clash of metal on metal, the sparks that fly, and the grueling determination etched across Prime's face all contribute to the dramatic crescendo of the pivotal moment. The battlefield becomes a theater of Prime's unwielding spirit as he beats Skywarp down with unwavering ferocity. And amidst the disaster, Prime words resonate like a clarion call. "I will endure no more." The declaration hangs heavy in the air, a proclamation of defiance against the forces that seek to break him, a testament to the unbreakable spirit of a leader in the face of adversity. As Optimus Prime gaze shifts from the defeated form of Skywarp to the prone figure of Spike on the battlefield, a palpable shift occurs within the leader. The stoic exterior of mighty Autobot momentarily gives way to a display of genuine concern and emotion. In this dramatic moment, the clashing sounds of battle seem to fade into the background, replaced by the silence that amplifies the weight of the scene. The battered Skywarp becomes a secondary concern as Prime's optic reflects a depth of compassion rarely seen on the battlefield. Moved not only as a formidable robot, but as a leader deeply invested in the well-being of his comrades. Prime strides purposely towards Spike. The cold metal exterior of the Autobot seems to soften as he kneels beside a fallen human, a guardian watching over a fragile life in the midst of turmoil. The drama unfolds in contrast between the relentless war machine, the compassionate leader. The concern etched on Prime's face and the subtle change in his demeanor speak volumes about the complexity of a machine harboring empathy. In this moment, the battleground becomes a stage for the intricate dance between duty, compassion, and the unspoken bond that that exists between beings, whether human or machine. He then picks up Spike, now bleeding profusely from the injury. Sparkplug runs towards Prime, tears streaking his face and a handgun pointed at the Autobot leader, screaming at him to get away from his son. Optimus transforms and tells Sparkplug to come with him. He's going to save his boy. Notes: one of the citizens' militia, Jerry, was the same man raving about seeing Jetfire in the first issue. Sparkplug notes that the internet is down, throwing the implied setting of the 1980s into question. While talking to Starscream, Soundwave can be seen cradling Ravage in his arms, shot by Optimus in the first issue. It's still unclear if Ravage is in stasis or dead. Optimus' iconic Energon axe first debuted in the Generation 1 cartoon episode More Than Meets the Eye, Part 2. Skywarp swears by the soul of the fallen. Daniel Warrenton Johnson hides little reference on the license plates of the vehicles and the characters' alt modes. The license plate of the police car Sparkplug commandeered has changed, now reading Murder Falcon, the title of one of Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer's previous Skybound comic. As Optimus drives into town, his front license plate reads DAP, which stands for Dua Power Bomb, another Johnson Spicer Skybound title. When Optimus transforms at the end, the license plate also serves as Johnson's signature with a small DWJ-23. The wrestling influence on the action in this comic continues, with Optimus Prime performing Kenta Kabashi's iconic burning hammer on Skywarp, hosting the Decepticon over his shoulder before slamming him into the ground head first. On page 4 and 5, Cliff Harmon's feet are occasionally colored gray like the rest of his legs when they should be red. While it is likely not intentional, in the scene of Optimus Prime ripping off his damaged arm and using it as a weapon is similar to a moment where Epiphase does the same thing in issue 49 of the Marvel series. Next issue, Skybound, Entertainment, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 4, Energon Universe. What happens now is up to the great Spark. You mean gods? Don't you fall into that category? Ha! Because of my size, I could say the same of you human. What, me? I'm nothing like. Come on, look at me. Compared to you, true, small, but still mighty. Quote, Optimus Prime and Sparky discuss the notions of humans versus Transformers. The Autobots put everything on the line to fend off a Decepticon onslaught and save Spike. Skybound, Entertainment, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 4, Energon Universe. With the smoke from the battle in Farmingham still fresh, Starscream arrives to confront the severely damaged Skywarp about the whereabouts of the Autobots. Skywarp directs Starscream east, after which the Decepticon leader departs, promising to return for Skywarp. At the quarry, Ratchet is working on Wheeljack when he receives a call for aid from Optimus Prime, who is driving Sparkplug and the mortally wounded Spike through the woods, with Starscream hot on his tail. A blast from Starscream damages Optimus and cuts off the transmission, and Ratchet bemoans that his buddy gonna have to wait. The Autobots need firepower. Back with the chase, Starscream lands in front of Optimus, only for Carly and Cliff Jumper to emerge from hiding and knock the Decepticon off his feet, allowing Optimus to run over Starscream and escape with Cliff. Enraged, Starscream calls Soundwave for backup. Our heroes soon arrive at Farmingham Hospital, only for Laserbeak to swoop in and barrage the group. Optimus and Cliff cover Sparkplug, Carly, and the medical staff as they rush Spike inside, but the Autobots are quickly caught off guard by Rumble and Soundwave. The later prepares to execute Optimus, only for the arriving of Starscream to tell him to wait. He just realized to his amusement that this place is where the squishy ones go to get fixed, and has decided to make Optimus' death even more painful by blasting his precious humans. Only hope for survival to smithereen. Inside, the doctors barely get Spike incubated before Starscream's assault begins, knocking the power offline. As Starscream relishes in the destruction he's causing, Soundwave alerts him to the impending approach of Ratchet and the firepower he's managed to bring back online. Jazz, the Decepticons, their firepower on the new arrival as he drifts into action, but Jazz proves too slippery for them and he quickly takes them down. Now outnumbered, Starscream orders Soundwave and the cassettes to retreat. Carly returns as the battle concludes and Optimus asks her about Spike. The Autobots look on through a hole in the hospital as the doctors inform Sparkplug that although Spike has been stabilized, the hospital's backup generator was eventually a casualty of battle, and without power, Spike along with the hospital's other life support patients are all but guaranteed to die. Just as Sparkplug begins to mourn the loss of another son, however, a bright blue glow begins emanating from Optimus' open chest compartment. Ratchet attempts to dissuade Optimus, but he won't have any of it. He's determined to prevent more deaths at any cost, removing the matrix of leadership from his chest and opening it up, the energy within repowering the hospital. Relieved and in awe, the doctors hurry to get Spike to the ICU, Meanwhile, the Decepticons, including Skywarp, return to the Ark. Soundwave berates Starscream for another failure, criticizing his short-sightedness and lust for destruction, and Starscream swiftly snaps back, upset that the Soundwave hasn't been able to repair Teletron. One, so they can finally bring their brothers back online and facilitate repairs. Soundwave reiterates that they don't have the materials they need to do so, as they only exit in Cybertronian technology. As he says this, the two turn to Skywarp and then, despite his protests, begin tearing them apart. Back at the hospital, Sparkplug talks to the comatose Spike about his desire to restart the family's lives to protect Spike from the world that he's lost the ability to see the good in. His attention soon turns outside to Optimus, who's obliging a young patient's interest in his ability to transform. Sparkplug then talks with Optimus about the Matrix. It was a gift Optimus had received many years ago, and he had used it every last bit of its energy to repower the hospital, leaving Spike's fate in the hands of the Great Spark. Sparkplug is confused at the idea of Optimus having a god, since Optimus seems to fit the bill himself, a notion that assumes Optimus. Sparkplug is underestimating his own might. In the generator room, Optimus reunites with Jazz and Ratchet, who's finished fixing the hospital generators. Ratchet berates the leader for his dangerous use of the Matrix, suggesting that they should have instead used it to fix himself, an idea Optimus finds abhorrent, given the alternative would be letting the innocent human die. Ratchet fires back that humans aren't innocent, they're prone to anger and destruction, which is Optimus muses makes them just like Cybertronian. Just then, Jazz collapses. Ratchet had used up all the Energon from the rest of their Autobot comrades' bodies to bring Jazz back online, but it was only just enough. Ratchet tells Optimus that they need to start thinking about themselves, as without a way to get more Energon, the Autobots may as well be on death's door. However, Ratchet has something stashed in Optimus' trailer that might help the Autobots regain their initiative, which Optimus finds too disgusting to consider using. As Ratchet claims that they don't have much of a choice, Sparkplug interrupts them. He might have an idea regarding their energy problem. Meanwhile, in a wrecked hospital room, Cliffjumper attempts to confront the grief-stricken Carly, as he can relate to how she's feeling. Long before the Autobots and Decepticons arrived on Earth, Starscream killed his entire clan, family, and he joined the war the very next day. Optimus then approaches, now equipped with a new arm that has a large counter mounted on the side, Megatron's arm, and asks Cliff if he's interested in going on the offensive. At the Ark, Starscream's work of salvaging the still living Skywarp for materials continue, as he triumphantly proclaims that he will forever be a Decepticon leader, while in the Arctic region, an offline Megatron, badly damaged and conspicuously missing his arm, remains partially embedded in ice. Notes: both Wheeljack and Jazz will relevant be among the Autobots brought back to Earth back in issue 1. Likewise, a reflector was nearly brought back online before Optimus destroyed Teletron, one in the same issue, and it seems that Starscream and Soundwave were able to finish what Teletron started, if the end of the issue is any indication. Though we get a brief look at him in a cassette form in issue 2, we finally get to see Rumble's full robot mode in action this issue, equipped with cartoon-style pile drivers. After a couple of teases in issue 1 and 2, Optimus uses the Matrix of leadership for the first time this issue. Ratchet's berating of Optimus later on retreats what we already know, that the Matrix is directly connected to Optimus' life force and that using it could risk him killing himself. Optimus mentions some sort of godlike entity referred to as the Great Spark. It's possible he's talking about Primus, with a Great Spark essentially being a title, but it's unclear at this point if Primus, as either a concept or an actual physical entity, exists in the Energon Universe continuality or not. The theme of families pops again this issue as Cliffjumper equates his now deceased clan to humans' concept of family. Megatron's current status is finally revealed. He's offline somewhere in the Arctic-esque region, partially trapped in ice and missing his Fusion Canyon arm, because the Autobots have it and have grafted it to Optimus, replacing the one he tore off last issue. While we don't know how he got it, it's worth noting that the preview pages for Cobra Commander seem to indicate that it takes place in an area with lots of snow. Transformers references. Rumble's iconic pile drivers, shared with his brother's Frenzy, first debuted in the premiere episode of Generation 1 cartoon, More Than Meets the Eye. Part 1. Soundwave insults Optimus with the line, "Optimus inferior." He may not have said Soundwave superior, but we all know what he's quoting. Megatron being stuck offline and trapped in ice results the live-action movie version, who was similarly frozen in ice before the events of the first live-action movie. Real-world references. During Jazz's attack on the Decepticon, he shouts 2-5-1, which is a reference to the 2-5-1 chord progression approximately common in jazz music. As Decepticons retreat from battle, Cliffjumper is drawn One giving them the finger. Skybound, Entertainment Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 5, Energon Universe is next. You taking something so precious and using it for your own evil purpose. Precious. Are you sure this doesn't make you quake in your jets, Starscream? Last I remember, you were cowering in front of this very weapon, a constant reminder of what you'll never be. Starscream and Optimus on Megatron's fusion cannon. The ranks of the Autobots and Decepticons grow as each side prepares to mount an offensive against their enemies. Presented by Skybound Entertainment, Distributed Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 5, Energon Universe. Optimus Prime and Sparky each reflect and share their experiences in their respective wars. Sparky asks Optimus, who has seen so much more than he ever will, why it has to be like this, but Prime solemnly laments that even he isn't sure. Staring at his reflection with Megatron's arm replacing his missing one, Prime wonders aloud if he's becoming the very thing he fights against. In the arc, the Decepticons use Teletron, now rebuilt using parts from Skywarp's body to rebuild their fellow soldiers. Upon revival, Thundercracker's horrified to see what's become of Skywarp, but what Starscream reassures him that Skywarp sacrificed himself for the greater good of the Decepticons. Laserbeak alerts Soundwave that the Autobots have discovered their source of energy, so Starscream decides to leave Soundwave, Thundercracker, and the newly revived Frenzy and Reflector to attack. As the local dam, Sparky helps Ratchet, a newly revived Wheeljack, currently using only half his body due to their limited resources, turn the water from the dam to power an Energon-generated turbine. Wheeljack offers to repair Optimus, but Optimus insists on using their energy supply to help restore their fellow warriors, reviving RC next. RC is happy to be back just as RC and Ratchet were about to share a moment. Incoming Decepticons disrupted the joyous occasion. RC swiftly threw herself into Ratchet, pushing him away from the bomb. In a Decepticon scream, they demand justice for Skywarp. Echo revealing that the Decepticons had discovered the Autobots' effort to rebuild their forces. The order was clear: destroy the water dam. Optimus Prime issues a command for the Autobots to defend the turbine at all costs. He urgently instructs Ratchet to bring more Autobots to the location immediately. Optimus engages in the battle, firing as many Decepticons as he can, while Sparkplug provides support in the firefight. The Autobots are determined to repel the Decepticon attack and safeguard the crucial turbine. Reflector attempts to attack Optimus Prime. They unleash a barrage of rounds in an attempt to strike the Autobot leader. Optimus Prime, resilient in the face of the onslaught, stands his ground, evading the incoming ammunition while continuing to lead the Autobots in the intense battle. Reflector, in the midst of the battle, suddenly realizes a startling revelation. The arm-wielding Megatron cannon catches their attention, and with a hint of surprise, Reflector utters, "Oh dear." Optimus Prime's wielding Megatron's fusion cannon blows away Reflector in a surprising and decisive move. Frenzy, overwhelmed by distress for his fallen friend, Reflector finds himself in a vulnerable moment when Optimus Prime seizes the opportunity. Optimus swiftly grabs Frenzy's leg and forcefully slams him down onto the floor. Despite Carly's proficiency with firearms, her attempts to aim at the target are futile amidst the chaos of bullets flying and fires erupting all around. Amidst the explosion, Carly is thrown off the dam, prompting Optimus Prime to scream out her name in anguish. RC swiftly takes action, racing after Carly with determination. Transforming into a sports car, she accelerates rapidly towards Carly, aiming to reach her as quickly as possible and provide protection. RC asserts, "But if Optimus Prime cares about you, then I care too," as she expertly drifts and transforms, catching Carly in mid-air. RC skillfully ensures that Carly doesn't hit the ground. Cliffjumper and Jazz stand back-to-back, unleashing a barrage of gunfire at the approaching Decepticons. In a synchronized effort, the Autobots demonstrate their combat skills, fending off the enemy with a coordinated firepower. Starscream vehemently expresses anger towards Optimus Prime for taking something precious to the Decepticons. However, Optimus dismisses Starscream's accusations, taunting him by suggesting stressing that Starscream fears the cannon just as he feared its previous wielder. The battle between Starscream and Optimus Prime intensifies as Optimus fires a cannon at Starscream, but cunning Decepticon swiftly ducks underneath the powerful blast, evading the attack. In a fit of rage, Starscream redirects his null rays towards the water turbine, unleashing their destructive power and ultimately obliterating the vital structure. Despite Starscream's initial success in destroying the water turbine, the tide turns as Optimus Prime retaliates, blasting him with a formal fusion cannon. The forceful counterattack compels Starscream to abandon his assault and retreat. With the Autobots' ranks reinforced and the Decepticons in retreat, Optimus Prime makes the strategic decision to reclaim the Ark. While Sparkplug willingly joins their cause, Carly expresses desire to go as well. However, both Optimus and Sparkplug refuse Carly's request, prioritizing her safety and not wanting her to face the dangers that befell Spike. As Optimus Prime issues the command for the Autobots to roll out, Cliff Jumper, motivated by a sense of camaraderie and appreciation for Carly, decides to discreetly place her in his driver's seat, believing that she deserves to be present when they ultimately halt the Decepticons for good. Cliff Jumper's gesture adds a personal touch to their mission and underlines the close bonds between the humans and the Autobots in their shared fight against Decepticon threat. As night falls, the Autobots reach the Ark, their towering spaceships and base. The arrival at this critical location sets the stage for the next phase of their mission to reclaim and secure their home base from the retreating Decepticon. Upon approaching the Ark, the Autobots find themselves confronted by an unexpected convoy of green construction vehicles. The air is filled with the sounds of heavy metal music, setting a distinct tone for the encounter. The sudden appearance of these vehicles introduces a new and potentially formidable obstacle. A revigorated Starscream emerges, boasting that he anticipated the Autobots would trail them to the ship. Revealing in his apparent triumph, Starscream unveils his new allies, the Decepticons. The formal team includes Scrapper, Mixmaster, Scavenger, Hook, Longhaul, and Bone Crusher, showcasing a powerful arc and united front that poses a fresh challenge for the Autobots in their mission to reclaim the Ark. Starscream commands the Constructicons to execute their speciality, signaling the beginning of their merging process. As the Decepticons combine their forces, the formal merging sequence unfolds, creating a powerful and larger entity that presents a significant threat to the Autobot. The Constructicons successfully merge, transforming into a colossal and formidable Devastator, towering at a size 10 times that of Optimus Prime. Devastator's mighty hand extends, poised to seize the Autobot leader. The immense size and power of Devastator presents a daunting challenge for the Autobots, escalating the intensity of the battle and raising the stakes in their struggle for control of the Ark. Notes: we once again get flashback to Sparky's experience in the war and the death of Jimmy Witwicky, both of which we saw in the opening pages of issue 1. This issue also gives us our first proper look at Jimmy in a flashback panel to the right before his launch. Optimus lost his arm back in issue 3 during the fight with Skywarp, with Ratchet replacing with Megatron in the last issue after taking it from Ark back in issue 1. This also affects his vehicle mode, with one corner of the truck cab being gray and the fusion cannon replacing the smokestack. Ravage was shot by Optimus back in issue 1. At that time, it was not confirmed if he survived, but here it's revealed that he was only injured. We get more hints about what happened to Megatron before the crash of the Ark, with Optimus saying he last saw Starscream covering before Megatron's fusion cannon. Next, presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers Volume 4, Issue 6, from the Energon Universe. My men, Jimmy, Spike, whenever something bad happened to them, I'd always think, if only I could have taken their place. If only it was me instead of them. Maybe now is my chance. I know you're going to care for this world like I care for my boys. Watch over them for me. And when Spike wakes, tell my son I'm proud of him. You will not be forgotten, Sparky. And I promise I will protect your son. I will protect the whole Earth. Sparky gives his life to energize the Matrix as Optimus Prime swears to protect humanity. The Autobots face devastation and the loss of one of their bravest soldiers. Presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers Volume 4, Issue 6, in the Energon Universe. The Autobots and Sparky Witwicky attempt to take cover inside the Ark as Devastator attacks. Having fallen behind, Cliffjumper attempts to assist, but Carly advises him instead to look for an alternative way into the Ark so that they can find more firepower. Starscream cackles in delight at the destruction wrought by the Decepticon Combiner, only to be summarily kicked in the face by Optimus Prime. Devastator grabs Prime and tosses him around, severely injuring the Autobot leader. RC drags him into the Ark while Jazz lays down suppressive fire. Devastator then grabs Ratchet and attempts to drag him out, forcing the Autobots to close the Ark's bay doors and cutting off Ratchet's leg in the process. Devastator tries to punch through the door, but Soundwave orders him to stop as to not to damage their sanctuary, instead suggesting getting into the Ark by digging through the mountain. Devastator complies. Cliffjumper and Carly scale the side of the mountain and reach the access port in the back of the ship. However, they are soon confronted by Starscream. The other Autobots get Optimus onto a table, but Ratchet tells them that his wounds are too severe for him to fix. As he starts to succumb to his injuries, Optimus apologizes to his friends for leading them on a false hope. He takes the Matrix of leadership from his chest and attempts to give it to one of them, but it is so weakened he drops on the floor. Sparky approaches, complaining that every time something bad has happened to the people he cares about, he always wonders if he could have somehow taken their place. He places his hand inside the Matrix and asks Optimus to tell Spike Wiki how proud he is of him before entering the Matrix completely, renewing its energy and repairing Prime in the process. Revitalized Prime says Sparky will not be forgotten and promises to protect Spike and the whole world. At that moment, Devastator breaks through the ceiling of the ship, but Result Prime simply grabs him by the finger and rips it off. He then grabs his ion blaster and uses it in tandem with Megatron's fusion cannon to unleash hell on the giant Gestalt. Meanwhile, Starscream and Cliffjumper pinned down and gloats about how he massacred the Autobots clan. As the two grapple, Carly aims one of the Transformers' guns at Starscream's and fires. Cliffjumper then takes the gun and aims it directly at Starscream's head. He tells the Seeker that he always wondered what this moment would feel like, ready to pull the trigger, but he can't do it. Carly angrily reminds Cliff of everything Starscream has done, but Cliff is simply too tired of all the fighting and death. However, his hesitation gives Starscream the chance to recover, and he grabs Carly and begins to squeeze. Outside, Optimus leads Devastator, while Devastator refers to Optimus Prime as a stupid red ant attempting to evade him. Optimus demonstrates his resourcefulness by utilizing Megatron's cannon as a turbo, showcasing his ability to adapt in the face of overwhelming odds. Devastator screams out "coward" as he attempts to strike Optimus, highlighting the significant size differential between Optimus and Devastator. Optimus Prime slides right to the edge of the cliff, taunting Devastator. "Is that all, Devastator?" He goads him to follow, daring the massive Decepticon to pursue him further. As Optimus Prime fires off ammunition and unleashes blasts from Megatron's blaster, Devastator seeks to close in and grab hold of him, intent on overpowering the Autobot leader. Optimus defiantly challenges Devastator, urging him to give his best shot. As Devastator charges forward at full speed, the cliffs tremble under his immense weight. Optimus Prime stands unwavering, prepared for the impending battle against the formidable Decepticon. As the Devastator rushes towards Optimus, Prime skillfully maneuvers underneath the giant Decepticon. With a swift and decisive move, Optimus Prime pushes Devastator over the edge of the cliff, utilizing strategy and ability to gain the upper hand in their confrontation. Starscream maintains his grip on Carly, squeezing her tightly as he continues to hold her captive, adding tension to the unfolding events. In a dramatic turn of events, the mighty Devastator topples onto Starscream, inadvertently freeing Carly from the Decepticon's grip amidst the chaos of the massive destruction. The impact leaves Starscream severely damaged as the weight of the Colossus robot takes its toll on the Decepticon. Cliffjumper hastily grabs Carly, but she expresses disappointment in him. Carly accuses Cliffjumper of having the opportunity to end the conflict once and for all, but failing to do so. As the pieces of the Devastator reform into the Constructicon, Starscream appears visible damage, bearing the consequences of the chaotic events that unfolded. Unable to fly, Starscream is assisted by the Constructicons, who carry their wounded Decepticon to safety. Despite their setbacks, the Decepticons regroup, ensuring that Starscream receives the care he needs after the devastating encounter. Soundwave, "Wait, please, let us be done with this," Optimus Prime implores, extending an offer of reconciliation. "Let us find a way to save our home together." Soundwave gazes at Optimus Prime, considering his words carefully, as the possibility of a cooperation between Autobots and Decepticons hangs in the balance. Soundwave looks at Optimus Prime and delivers his response, but before any further dialogue can occur, he launches a fist at the Autobot leader. Optimus Prime, ever resolute, asserts, "Make no mistake, Soundwave, I desire peace, but I am no fool." With swift reflexes, Optimus catches Soundwave's punches, showcasing his unwavering resolve, interrupting the confrontation. Optimus Prime stands victorious over the Ark, having emerged triumphant from this battle. However, he acknowledges that the war is far from over. With determination in his voice, Optimus declares, "Until the next time, Decepticons," recognizing the ongoing conflict will persist until peace is finally achieved. Back at Farmington Hospital, Spike awakens. The doctor advises him not to speak, so Spike, unable to vocalize his question, grabs a nearby piece of paper. With trembling hands, he writes just one thing: "Where's my dad?" The urgency in Spike's inquiry hangs heavily in the air as he awaits the answer with bated breath. Note: Ratchet is missing most of his left leg when we first saw him, reflecting the injury inflicted upon him by Scavenger at the end of last issue. He loses the other leg to Devastator later in the issue, which cruelly ironically recalls his buddy Wheeljack, who was working as only his top halfback at the dam. Thundercracker continues to believe that the Autobots are to blame for what Starscream and Soundwave did to Skywarp at the end of issue 3. The opening, Carly and Cliffhanger and later Starscream climb into the exact same hexagonal opening to Teletron, one's room that's been shown nearly every issue up to this point, beginning all the way back with Jetfire flying in through it in issue 1. Cybertronics were shown not to have the concept of father in issue 2. To be fair, Starscream, even we weren't the guy named Davey he crushed was Carly's dad until the end of the same issue. Starscream was established to have wiped out Cliffjumper's clan in issue 4. As he's dying, Optimus recalls Jetfire's dying words from issue 1. Though it is shaped near identical, the Cybertronian pistol Carly files at Starscream isn't actually the one Cliffjumper was using. We can see Carly running towards it at the very start of the fight. Optimus finds a new way to use the fusion cannon in the vehicle mode other than the oversized smokestack seen in the previous issue. It mounts backwards on the truck's roof to serve as a powerful rocket booster he uses to race ahead of Devastator as he lures him to the cliff's edge. Optimus' near death is a homage to the death of the Transformers, the movie, which panels even recreating specific shots from the scene. As Optimus unleashes his firepower on Devastator and leaps to kick the combiner in the face, the sound effects of those two panels spell out, "Oh yeah," and you know the song, cueing the reader to hear The Touch by Stan Bush, the song from the Transformers movie used whenever Optimus does something insanely awesome. This isn't the first time Optimus has asked Soundwave to put their conflict behind him. Real-world references. Starscream raises the horns with both hands as he watched Devastator stomp across the battlefield. Jazz's musical references as he says that Optimus might be coming up at the final encore. Optimus' license plate has seen when he drives away from the Devastator reads MF. As amusing as it might be considered the possibility of a hard swear sneaking its way into Transformers comic book, this is almost certainty short for Murder Falcon, continuing the gag of DWJ using the license plate to reference his previous work with Skybound. This issue ends with a dedication thanking Peter Cullen for his inspiration for the story from Daniel Warren Johnson. Next issue, presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 7, Energon Universe. Optimus says, "I'm the best shot he's ever seen. I wish I wasn't so good at it." What? You should be totally stoked. It'll help when it comes to killing Decepticons. Killing Starscream. I can see the fire in your eyes. Be careful, it doesn't consume you. Quote RC and Carly. Having taken back their ship, the Autobots plan their next move against the Decepticons, who have found themselves caught in a power struggle. Meanwhile, the war still rages back on Cybertron. Presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed by Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 7, Energon Universe. On Cybertron, a squad of Autobots led by Elita One are ambushed by Decepticons while attempting to storm a fortress belonging to Shockwave, looking for one of their own. One by one, Huffer, Warpath, and Cup are taken down, with the latter urging Elita to keep going and save him. Kicking in the door to the fortress, Elita is horrified to find who they are looking for. for. Ultra Magnus, stripped to a near skeletal pile of parts. Back on Earth, in the Pacific Ocean, the captain of the USS Henry Harrison gets a call from an admiral ordering him to head to the coast of Washington in search of giant robots. Meanwhile, Soundwave calls a meeting amongst the Decepticons to challenge Starscream for command. Starscream tries to turn the others against Soundwave, but Thundercracker reminds Starscream that this is their way. Starscream is pushed into the middle and shows no interest in being part of a fight with Soundwave. The other Decepticons watch with smiles on their faces. Starscream hesitates, saying, "Wait," but Soundwave blasts him right in the face. Starscream starts to beg, suggesting co-leadership, but Soundwave ignores him, saying the time for talk is over, and hits Starscream in the face. Soundwave continues to beat on Starscream without hesitation. Soundwave asks if Starscream yields, but he refuses, throwing a rock at Soundwave. However, Starscream's efforts have little effect on Soundwave, who continues to pound him relentlessly. In a last-ditch effort, Starscream blasts Soundwave. Starscream slams his head into Soundwave, but Soundwave reveals a trick of his own that Starscream deems as cheating. Starscream unleashes Laserbeak, who attacks Starscream's eye and rips it out of his socket, then brings it back to Soundwave. With one eye missing and his arm decapitated, Starscream offers forgiveness for the betrayal, urging Soundwave to choose the right path for their species. However, Soundwave declares that talking is over as he approaches the beaten Starscream. Soundwave rips several pieces off Starscream's chest and then asserts the only path left is extermination. As Starscream refuses to yield, Soundwave throws Starscream over the cliff, having ripped out his chest and eyes, bidding him farewell with a dramatic speech. Soundwave vows to heal, ravage, and rebuild, conquer, and destroy together with the Decepticons, rallying them to his cause. The Decepticons bend on one knee before Soundwave, pledging their loyalty to their new leader. Outside the Ark, RC introduces herself to Carly, who's practicing with a rifle. RC asks if she can join her and blasts away Carly's makeshift can and bottle targets, impressing the human girl. RC laments her own talent for killing and tells Carly that she reminds RC of herself. Her clan was killed when she was young, but she was rescued by Ultra Magnus, who taught her how to fight. But as the war progressed, RC learned how the path of hate takes more than it heals, claiming Ultra Magnus died because of her. Carly, incredulous at this lecture, returns to shooting her rifle. Inside the ship, the pair are watched by Jazz and Cliffjumper. Cliff tells Jazz that Carly hasn't spoken to him since he refused to pull the trigger on Starscream, but Jazz assures him he did the right thing. Optimus Prime and Ratchet go to visit Spike Witwicky at Farmingham Hospital, but Spike doesn't wish to speak to him, saying that he needs more time after his father sacrificed himself. As the two drive back to the Ark, Optimus has a vision of himself holding a baby human. He is so distracted by this vision that he ends up driving off the road. Ratchet asks what happened, and Prime simply responds that he doesn't know. The pair eventually return to the Ark, where Wheeljack informs the Autobots that the repairing more of their forces had been difficult, with Skywarp augmented Teletron 1 locking him out of the repair system, and that it will take him time to figure out a workaround. Optimus asks him to make haste. The Autobots have the upper hand, but they need to take the fight to the Decepticons. Wheeljack says they'll need a way to find them, idly musing about creating some sort of flying vehicle. Optimus says he has a plan for that, looking at the remains of Jetfire. Notes: this issue marks Cybertron's first appearance outside of flashbacks in the main Transformers title. We had previously seen the planet in Void Rivals number 4, with Shockwave standing vanguard, while his fellow Decepticons were said to be in status due to low resources. However, the situation seems to have changed since then, with Decepticon forces active and in conflict with Elita's Autobots. Jetfire remains have been brought back to the Ark since his death back in issue 1. Starscream kicked Ravage back in issue number 5. Transformers references: the fortress that Elita's Autobots storm in the opening pages is drawn to resemble Shockwave's eye and chest, suggesting it to be a new version of Shockwave's tower. Elita One, leading a team of Autobots left behind on Cybertron against Shockwave, is in line with her original Generation 1 cartoon counterpart. Real-world references: USS Henry Harrison is named for the 9th President of the United States, William Henry Harrison. This follows a tradition of aircraft carriers and other Navy ships being named after presidents, though in real life, Harrison is one of the presidents to not have a single naval vessel named for him. Next, presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 8, Energon Universe. I had to use what was left at my disposal. We needed a way to travel around this world in order to save it. Is that what I am to you? A husk. I cannot move. Everything is black. I cannot see the stars anymore. Optimus faces the repercussions of bringing Jetfire back to life. As the Autobots ready themselves to go on the offensive, Soundwave begins a plan to bring Earth under Decepticon rule. Presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 8, Energon Universe. Carly brings Spike with Wiki to a lake outside Farmingham, thinking it will help his recovery to get some fresh air. When she asks how he feels, Spike tells her he doesn't feel anything. Carly says that with the world changing, they have to protect themselves. Cliffjumper joins them, even offering them colas, but Carly is still angry at him for not killing Starscream. Feeling like she can't trust him anymore, she storms off, leaving Spike to confront a dejected Cliffjumper. On Cybertron, Elita One carries the mangled body of a delirious Ultra Magnus through the fortress looking for an exit. Having experienced over 150 years of torture, Magnus begs Elita to kill him. Elita apologizes for taking so long to find him and assures him that she won't let him go again, but ultimately promises to follow Magnus's order for both of them if they are captured. In the Pacific Ocean, USS Henry Harrison makes its way towards Washington when Soundwave and Thundercracker attack. Thundercracker pities the humans. When the captain begs for his life, he begins to let them go. Soundwave points out while they pose no threat to them, they will likely inform their superiors about their attack, and thus they cannot be allowed to go free. He blasts the humans fleeing on lifeboats. On the Ark, Wheeljack is trying to use Teletron 1 despite the interference of Skywarp, whose fusion with the computer gives him more control over it and whom Wheeljack can't remove without compromising what remains of Teletron. Optimus pities the Seeker for what his fellow Decepticons did to him, especially after seeing a video log of him getting ripped apart. However, Carly enters carrying a missile launcher, planning to kill what remains of Skywarp. Optimus tries to talk her down, but her finger slips on the trigger, sending the missile headed towards the computer. However, RC takes the shot, saving Teletron and Skywarp, much to Carly's distress. Grateful to be saved, Skywarp uses Teletron to fix Wheeljack's legs. Optimus tries to use this as teaching moment for Carly, but she's not having any of it and storms off to her van. RC follows after her and Carly apologizes. Carly admits that she's confused why the Autobots don't act like the giant badass robots she sees, but RC reveals that before Optimus brought them together, they were all scattered and lost. She tells Carly that while Optimus tries to hide it, his losses are greater than anyone's. Later, Optimus awakens from a dream where he sees himself with a human child as a boy grows through the years. He questions what these visions mean, but is soon distracted by a newly awakened Jetfire whom Ratchet was able to save from death, but unfortunately he is now mode locked, much to Jetfire's horror. Optimus apologizes, trying to justify as an allocation of resources, but when he turns to leave, Jetfire begs him to stay, not wanting to be left alone in the darkness as he cannot see in jet mode. Having sunk the Henry Harrison, Soundwave and Thundercracker follow it down to the sea where the Constructicons have been unearthing the key to Soundwave's ultimate plan, the Nemesis, the ship which brought the Decepticons to Earth all those years ago. As the Decepticons work to repair the ship, they hear a loud banging coming from inside the ship's brig. Soundwave orders the Decepticons open it, much to their trepidation, saying they need all the help they can get. As the doors open, an enraged Astrotrain tears through them, demanding to know where Megatron is. As he tears through the smaller Decepticon warriors, Soundwave tries to get him to calm down, saying they don't know where Megatron is now, but promising to give him Astrotrain when they find him. Back at the Ark, Wheeljack detects the activation of Nemesis. Optimus orders the Autobots to board Jetfire so they might finally take the fight to their enemy. Carly insists on coming, but Optimus refuses, telling her she isn't a warrior. RC offers to take Carly on her Iron Apprentice, a sacred bond between typically an older and younger Cybertronian that marks the beginning of a clan and the same relationship Ultra Magnus had with RC many years ago. Optimus reluctantly agrees, but orders them to instead stay at the Ark with Wheeljack to defend their home and watch over Spike as the rest of the Autobots depart in Jetfire. On the Nemesis, Thundercracker asks when the ship will take to the skies, but Soundwave reports that they will require too much Energon. What they really need is the ship's antenna, which will allow them to finally call for reinforcements. Soundwave activates the monitor on the ship's bridge, and the image of Shockwave appears. Notes: hidden in the shadows on the first page is a bot whose few identifying feature looks suspiciously similar to Beachcomber, who was previously seen getting shot in a flashback to Cybertron in issue 2. What is he doing here? Carly mentions that Starscream killed Bumblebee in issue 1. Cliffjumper's refusal to kill Starscream occurred in issue 6. Wheeljack has been operating as only a torso since he was revived in issue 4. Skywarp getting torn apart to repair Teletron 1 happened in issue 4 and 5. RC's relationship with Ultra Magnus was first glimpsed last issue. Clans were first mentioned back in issue 3. After previously appearing in Void Rivals number 4 and being alluded to last issue, Shockwave finally makes his first appearance in the Transformers title proper. Introduced in this issue is Nemesis, the classic Decepticon flagship seen in both the original Generation 1 cartoon and Marvel comic. Its name and fate crash at the bottom of the ocean first appeared in Beast Wars, finally two-parter Nemesis. The Decepticons operating out of a crashed spaceship at the bottom of the ocean is yet another element pulled from Generation 1 cartoon. However, it should be noted while the Nemesis was depicted as crashing into the ocean as the aforementioned Beast Wars episode, the Decepticon headquarters of the Generation 1 cartoon was actually a different ship, the Victory. While the colas go unbranded, they are colored with the red packaging of Coca-Cola. Next, presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 9, Energon Universe. It must be surprising to you, seeing us standing in front of you in all our metallic glory. But where we hail from is a shell of its former self. Our home is in need of substance. And look at the land you live in. Your resources are immeasurable and ripe for the taking. But this is our home. Such is the way for a weaker species. I feel sorry for you, human. Quote, Astrotrain teaches Spike how colonization works. The battle on Earth and Cybertron finally collide with horrifying consequences for Optimus and his allies. Presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 9, Energon Universe. As the Autobots near the Decepticons' location in the Pacific Ocean, Soundwave activates a device from the bridge of the Nemesis. Shockwave says on the teleprompter, "Your thanks is welcome, Soundwave, but unnecessary. My long-lost brothers are now found, and look at the abundance of riches you have stumbled upon. We will soon be celebrating in the halls of my stronghold." Shockwave emerges from the pages of Void Rivals, revealing himself as a different kind of leader. He considers the Decepticons his brothers and aims to survive off the abundance of riches Earth has to offer. He does not care about the consequences for humans or the Autobots. From an antenna atop of the ship, a whirlpool begins to form, and a beam of pink energy fires into the sky, which gazes jet fire, sending the Autobot jet carrying to the bottom of the oceaning floor. As the Autobots are thrown from their companion, they are confronted by the Constructicons as they work on a device, a space bridge through which Shockwave steps through. Shockwave says, "The rabble rousers are still fighting back, I see." Optimus Prime gazes at Shockwave with horror in his eyes. Shockwave continues, "We Decepticons have work to do." Shockwave says, "You Autobot scum are interrupting our glorious mission." Just then, Shockwave transforms into a blaster and aims at Cliffjumper. The gun goes off. Selflessly, Ratchet jumps right in the way of Shockwave's blast, screaming for Cliffjumper to help. Ratchet now has a hole through him, with smoke and molten metal seeping through this wounded Transformer. In a moving moment, Ratchet the Autobot utters, "No," as the gun now faces Cliffjumper, aimed directly at his head. Optimus Prime comes in for the save, kicking Soundwave with his leg. Shockwave transformed out of gun mode into Decepticon mode. Shockwave sneers. "Optimus Prime, I see not much has changed. Still sniveling, still slimy, still weak." Optimus retorts, "Weak? Did you forget our last meeting, Shockwave? Shall I make you cry for mercy a second time? Shockwave responds, silence, Autobot dog. In Farmingham, Wheeljack, RC, and Carly make their way back to the dam, hoping to repair the Energon turbine, which supplies from the Ark. Carly is eager to learn how to fight, but RC informs her that being linked is more about looking out for each other than it is fighting. However, a mile out from the dam, they are confronted by the Farmingham militia. Carly rushes out in front of the militia and urges them to stand down, telling them that the Autobots are the good guys. Meanwhile, at the Farmingham hospital, Spike Witwicky learns from the doctor that his spine was grazed by the bullet when the militia accidentally shot him. Spike asks if he'll ever walk again, but the doctor's words of reassurance are interrupted by the sound of Astrotrain, who has come looking for Spike. Though he doesn't wish to harm any lesser being, he threatens to destroy the hospital if Spike doesn't come with him. Spike agrees without hesitation. Optimus Prime is getting pummeled by Shockwave, the Constructicons, and Soundwave. Punches and kicks are coming from all directions, targeting his legs and upper body. If any Autobot tries to help, Scrapper or another Constructicon quickly denies their assistance. All these Decepticons are loyal to Shockwave. Lifting Optimus over his head, Shockwave sneers, "You fought dirty last time, Optimus, but I have learned much since that day." Shockwave then delivers a devastating tombstone piledriver. Optimus Prime's head hits the ground hard. Standing over him, Shockwave sneers, "Your ending shall be slow and brutal." "I did it. I defeated the great Optimus Prime. Not so proud now, are you, whelp?" Optimus lies there, motionless, as Shockwave revels in his victory. On Cybertron, Elita One and Ultra Magnus are cornered by the Combaticons. Unable to find an escape, Elita follows a pink glow at the end of the corridor, discovering the portal Shockwave used to come to Earth. Arriving on the alien world in the midst of Optimus and Shockwave's battle, the Combaticons begin to follow them through, with Onslaught giving the order to merge. Without missing a beat, Elita grabs Prime, ion cannon, and fires at the space bridge. Onslaught leaps through, but Brawl is caught in between the portal and is bisected as it closes. Soundwave orders the Decepticons to eliminate the rest of the Autobots, and they open fire on Cliffjumper and Jazz. Elita insists that she and Optimus retreat, dragging both him and Magnus away from the combat. Soundwave prepares to go after them, but Shockwave tells him to focus on repairing the space bridge. The Psychopene Decepticon then discovers the abandoned Cliffjumper and Jazz, eager to have new subjects to experiment with. As Astrotrain approaches the Pacific, he tells Spike about how Cybertron has been plagued with disease, but the resources of Earth will help the Decepticons save their world, even at the cost to the human. Spike protests, but Astrotrain nonchalantly says that is simply the way for a weaker species. Astrotrain also reveals that he will be delivered to Shockwave as an offering from Soundwave to experiment with his native life form. As they approach the coastline, a blue and white machine attaches to the Decepticons, shutting off his engines and sending him crashing to the shore. The side of Astrotrain is torn open by Beachcomber, who's here to rescue Spike. Notes: Jetfire is now sporting an auto brand, something which must have occurred in between panels last issue. Spike was shot by one of Sparky's militia in issue number 3. The Combaticons are colored in Generation 1 cartoon colors. Shockwave paraphrases the human idiom tickled pink, replacing pink with his own purple. Next, presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed by Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 10, Energon Universe. I promised myself I would never hurt anyone or anything again. That mindset doesn't exactly help in a war, and I want no part of it. Quote, Beachcomber, 2 Transformers discover the beauty of Earth's nature. Their reactions are very different. Presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 10, Energon Universe. Millions of years ago in Earth's orbit, a fierce battle raged between the Autobots and the Decepticons. Decepticons. As the Ark entered Earth's orbit, the Decepticons launched a relentless attack. Skywarp picked up Beachcomber and hurled him through a massive hole in the Ark, likely created by Decepticon fire. Beachcomber was thrown out of the ship and landed on the moon. Beachcomber remained on the moon for the entire duration while the Autobots crashed on the Earth and remained in stasis for millions of years. For all that time, Beachcomber was left sitting on the moon, staring at the Earth, until July 20th, 1969, when the Apollo 11 moon mission arrives. Beachcomber hitches a ride on the return flight and makes his way to Earth. He is happy to finally see the Earth in person. We see Beachcomber back on Earth enjoying a peaceful beach and reveling in nature. This aligns with Beachcomber's characteristics as a peacekeeper who doesn't desire to fight in any war, preferring instead to appreciate the natural world. He finds the planet's surface just as wondrous as he imagined. While exploring, he discovers the Ark. Beachcomber goes inside the Ark and turns on Teletron 1. When Teletron 1 asks to begin repairs, Beachcomber does nothing. He reasons that despite their good intentions, the Autobots weren't meant for Earth. He believes that eventually they would end up running it and war would start again because of them. This way, the Autobots could sleep forever, remaining in stasis offline. Beachcomber tells his tale to Spike Witwicky, having rescued him from Astrotrain, who Beachcomber has chained up to prevent him from attacking. Despite being a pacifist and alone for millions of years, Beachcomber says he isn't truly alone as he made friends with nature. He saved Spike because he sees him as one of the beautiful creatures of Earth. However, a chained-up Astrotrain threatens Beachcomber, but Beachcomber still offers the triple changer some of the energon he took from the Ark's reserves as a peace offering. Astrotrain reveals to Beachcomber that Shockwave has come to Earth with the intent of harvesting its resources. Though Beachcomber is aware of the destruction Shockwave will bring, he has vowed never to hurt anyone or anything again and wants no part in the war. Astrotrain grimly adds, Shockwave will take this planet for all it's worth. Sad, but true. He will drain the Earth of all its energy. On the Nemesis, Shockwave says, Soundwave, good news. The Constructicons have repaired the portal to Cybertron. What are you doing? We are on the doorstep of a new dawn for Cybertron, and you're here distracting yourself with trivialities like repairing Ravage? Let us recycle this old thing so you can build a better, stronger version of your Recordicons. When you take the bronze throne on your planet, suddenly something distracts Shockwave. He throws Ravage aside instead of recycling him and orders Soundwave to follow him. Shockwave is then distracted by the sight of a humpback whales in the ocean, marveling at the creatures. At this point, Scrapper informs him the feeder is ready. Upon its activation, it sucks the ocean whales and all into its vortex as Shockwave looks on and cheers manically. Back at the dam, Wheeljack finishes fixing the Energon turbine, and RC is impressed with his work. Optimus Prime returns with Elita One and an injured Ultra Magnus. RC is shocked to see her old mentor, having believed him to be dead. RC is super concerned about Ultra Magnus, but Ultra Magnus doesn't want her to see him like this. Wheeljack reassures Ultra Magnus that Ratchet will fix him right up, leading Optimus to reveal that Ratchet didn't survive the battle. Wheeljack needs a moment and excuses himself to grieve the death of Ratchet. In the depths of the Nemesis, Jazz and Cliffjumper are in chains. Cliffjumper cannot see and Jazz is not doing well. Shockwave arrives eager to begin experimenting on the Autobots. The Autobots remain defiant, but Shockwave taunts them, saying, "My kind, the Decepticons, at least do not leave our soldiers behind." Not that I'm mad, of course. After all, I thought we could have a conversation about this planet and your role on it. And look, I brought some tools to help us along the way. The tools are meant to torture the Autobots as the other Decepticons leave, allowing Shockwave to begin his experimentation. Thundercracker, who finds Shockwave's actions dishonorable, is led outside by Soundwave to discuss their next step. Soundwave admits that despite their reservations, they need Shockwave. Thundercracker argues they should mount an assault on the Ark to rescue Skywarp, but Soundwave dismisses the idea. Optimus Prime regrets leaving Cliffjumper and Jazz behind. Elita One tells him that Shockwave Shockwave will likely subject them to the same torture he inflicted on Ultra Magnus. She chastised Optimus for abandoning Cybertron and allowing it to fall to the Decepticons. Elita warns that Shockwave, having stripped their home of its resources, will now do the same to Optimus's new paradise. Shockwave gathers the Decepticons for a meeting, emphasizing the urgency of their mission. All this planet has to offer with such technology would take a century, he declares. Our world is on the edge of the devastation. We must move faster. Using the energon converted by the feeder, Shockwave reactivates the space bridge, now on a much larger scale, with a goal of bringing Cybertron into Earth's orbit. Shockwave repeats with urgency, much faster. Our planet writhes with thirst. As light flash around them, he continues, this is a space bridge bringing two worlds together. The space bridge hums with power, ready to unite Earth and Cybertron in a cataclysmic event. Shockwave continues and says, why not bring our home to the source? Cybertron is next to the moon and can be seen from Earth. Shockwave has brought Cybertron to take the energy from the planet Earth. Beachcomber and Spike look on in horror as the Transformers' home fills the sky. Shockwave says, let the harvest begin. Next, presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed by Image Comics, Transformers Volume 4, Issue 11, Energon Universe. I know how you feel, Beachcomber. It feels wrong to fight, but I don't think I have to. I just know I can't run away. Quote, Spike finds his resolve. Only Optimus Prime can save Earth and Cybertron, but will all the Autobots stand with him? Presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers Volume 4, Issue 11, Energon Universe. We open with Beachcomber riding the waves on a high-tech surfboard, enjoying the ocean's beauty. However, the piece is shattered as the Decepticons begin siphoning the ocean's life force, sending it up to Cybertron. Meanwhile, on the Ark, RC speaks to an unconscious Ultra Magnus, feeling guilt-ridden for leaving him to be tortured by Shockwave. Though she admits she didn't know the full extent, Elita One chastises RC for abandoning him, leading RC to angrily punch her, shouting, you don't know me. Witnessing this exchange, Carly asks what happened to Ultra Magnus. RC explains that he was a captive of Shockwave for hundreds of years. The same fate Jazz and Cliffjumper are likely enduring right now. The idea horrifies Carly. Optimus Prime confirms with Wheeljack about Magnus's repairs, but Wheeljack admits that he cannot fully repair Ultra Magnus without Ratchet, and doing so would deplete their remaining energon. Wheeljack suggests keeping Magnus in his current state and reviving more Autobots instead, but Magnus awakens and pleads with Optimus, expressing his desire to fight as part of the new resistance. Aboard the Nemesis, Soundwave requests that Shockwave take Ravage back to Cybertron for repairs, but Shockwave insists that there are more pressing matters to address. He then returns to Cybertron and orders the Combaticons to prepare their defenses against any potential attacks from the remaining Autobot rebels. When the Combaticons ask about the status of Brawl and Onslaught, Shockwave dismisses their concerns without further explanation. The Autobots quickly deduce that the space bridge connecting Cybertron to Earth is linked between the Nemesis and Shockwave's fortress, where the energy collected from the Earth is being siphoned into Energon stores. They realize that destroying the Nemesis could sever that connection, but they also know that Shockwave likely has enough Energon stored to crush the remaining Autobots on Cybertron. Carly insists that the first priority should be rescuing Cliffjumper, and Optimus Prime agrees. However, Elita balks at this plan. She says, rescue our warriors. What about the Autobot soldiers who have ground to death by Decepticons? Optimus Prime, you left the very war you helped begin. It was me in the trenches for countless years. I lost everything there. You haven't seen how bad it's become. And what of Cybertron? Are we just going to leave it to Shockwave? There are still Autobots on our planet fighting to the death. Would you leave them to die? Optimus Prime responds, I understand your anger, Elita One, but Jazz and Cliffjumper are in mortal danger. We must focus on them first and then destroy the Nemesis to save the planet. I am confident in our abilities, Elita and our old friends. RC's furious what the Decepticons did to Magnus gears up for battle while Carly, taken aback by RC's fierce determination, watches in surprise. Elita One, noticing RC's resolve, tells her that she's proud to see her fire returning. The Autobots devise a plan utilizing Skywarp's teleportation abilities, now linked to Teletron 1. They intend to infiltrate the Nemesis and plant explosives to destroy the Decepticon flagship, thereby cutting off its space bridge connection. Carly insists on joining the mission, feeling responsible for rescuing Cliffjumper, but both Optimus and RC refuse, assuring her they will bring him back safely. RC reassures Carly, saying, "I'm your iron intercessor, just as Magnus was for me. I can't let what happened to him happen to you. I will save Cliffjumper. Carly, I promise." Beachcomber returns to where he left Spike and Astrotrain, informing Spike of what he witnessed. Spike asks if they should take action, but Beachcomber summarily replies that there's nothing they can do, leaving a canister of Energon for Astrotrain. Beachcomber then takes Spike to another quiet part of the world to wait for the inevitable end. As they walk through the woods, Spike spots a deer and recalls the moment Optimus first set foot on the planet. Spike tells Beachcomber that while he knows the fighting is wrong, it doesn't mean they can just run away. Aboard the Nemesis, Shockwave continues to torture Jazz and Cliffjumper. Shockwave taunts Cliffjumper, saying, "Your resilience is most impressive, but please do not tarnish your bravery with empty defiance. If you refuse to talk, I have other methods, better ways." As he speaks, a drill moves ominously towards the Autobot's memory chip. "If I want to see what you've experienced in this new world, I can simply take it from the source." Shockwave adds, knowing that the process will be excruciatingly painful. Just then, Optimus Prime arrives and confronts Shockwave, saying firmly, "You shall do not such a thing." With anger in his eyes, he orders Shockwave to drop the drill and release his friends. Turning to them, Optimus asks, "How are you doing, my old friends?" At that moment, Elita comes running in, having just finished planting the charges, ready to complete their mission. RC, enraged, shouts, "Does it feel good to be on the other side of a loaded barrel? How about I end this right now?" She threatens to blast Shockwave, but Prime intervenes, reminding her, "Remember how far you've come. Don't lose yourself to the path of violence and hatred again." Unfortunately, her hesitation gives Shockwave an opening, and he kicks RC away. Taking advantage of this moment, Shockwave grabs Cliffjumper as a hostage and warns, "Not another step," as he aims his blaster directly at the Autobot. Elita One calls Shockwave a coward, prompting him to flee the room. As he escapes, Shockwave encounters the Constructicons in another chamber. Without hesitation, he orders them to combine into Devastator, leading to the formation of the towering Combiner. Devastator looms large, grunting menacingly at the smaller Autobots, but Optimus Prime remains relatively unfazed, teleporting in from behind. Wheeljack and a fully restored Ultra Magnus arrive. Optimus Prime declares, "This is why we have backup. Ultra Magnus is here to fight in the battle." Just when it seemed all hope was lost for the Autobots, Optimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, and Wheeljack are ready for the battle. Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus merge, ready to take on Devastator. With Optimus Prime's strength and courage combined with Ultra Magnus's sheer power, it promises to be an epic clash. However, upon seeing Shockwave again, Magnus freezes. He can't do it. In a fit of panic, he drops his weapon and retreats, apologizing all the while. Ultra Magnus has remembered what Shockwave has done to him all these years and tortured him and literally skinned alive Magnus. Ultra Magnus says, "I'm sorry, I can't." The other Autobots screaming at Magnus, "Where are you going?" As their strongest warrior drives off, Shockwave gloats. He broke the mind of the mighty Ultra Magnus, and now he'll break the rest of the Autobots' bodies. Next, presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed Image Comics, Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 12, Energon Universe. Earth needs me. Earth needs us. Please, your people need you. I need you. I'm sorry, Elita. Don't abandon us again. Quote, Optimus and Elita One. Optimus Prime faces a choice. and he makes one. Presented by Skybound Entertainment Distributed, Image Comics Transformers, Volume 4, Issue 12, Energon Universe. On the Ark, Carly monitors the situation and realizes just how dire things are for the Autobots, with Shockwave and the Decepticons closing in. The Autobots are completely surrounded by their enemies. Shockwave says, "Decepticons, let us finish these Autobots once and for all," as Clipjumper is held by his neck. The Autobots are scrambling, doing their best to hold back the enemy fire. Wheeljack asks Optimus, "What happened to Ultra Magnus?" Optimus Prime responds, "I do not know," as Elita One and RC do their best, firing away. Carly runs to the van, turns on the ignition, and heads towards the portal. Carly and Clipjumper's relationship had been on the rocks since Clipjumper chose not to execute Starscream in issue 6. Wheeljack asks Optimus, "Are you still connected to the charges?" Optimus responds, "Elita set them, but I can't detonate the Nemesis with Cliffjumper so close." Elita One was responsible for setting the charges, and Optimus holds the trigger to blow the entire place. Suddenly, Carly bursts through the portal shouting, "When are you all gonna learn? I'm here to stay." The van charges in, hitting Soundwave, causing him to release Cliffjumper and dropping Shockwave. In a wholesome moment, Carly rescues Cliffjumper and apologizes for not being there for him. Carly says, "Hey buddy, I'm sorry for not being there for you." Not even a second after the rescue, Devastator charges in, sending Carly's van flying and crashing through the air. Optimus Prime rallies the Autobot, commanding, "Autobots, while they're distracted, let's go and get our fallen brother." In robot mode, Optimus leads the charge as the other Autobots follow in vehicle form, shouting, "Charge!" Optimus presses forward. Meanwhile, Cliffjumper rips open the car, yelling, "Hurry, hurry, get out!" He throws Carly to safety just as the Devastator steps on his arm. Then Devastator kicks Cliffjumper and the rubble from the van into the portal to Cybertron. We see both Cliffjumper and the wrecked van disappear through the portal. On the other side, the Combaticons are eager to get into action. Both Cliffjumper and the destroyed van come crashing through, knocking into the Combaticon. We return to the battle on Earth, where Devastator is laughing, but Optimus Prime jumps behind him and fires his fusion cannon. He then jumps down and shouts to Elita One, "Now!" The couple execute a coordinated move as Elita shoots a grappling hook, wrapping it around Devastator's leg. Elita swings around him with the cable, causing Devastator to fall onto the harvester, crushing Shockwave's Energon harvester and destroying it. This disconnects the space bridge, and Wheeljack reports to Optimus that Cybertron is returning to its original place. With the portal still active, Shockwave retreats, saying the device must have been keeping Cybertron in place as well as harvesting Energon. With it gone, our home is slowly returning to its place in the galaxy. I shall bring reinforcements. You will see. You will pay. We continue as we see Optimus charging after Shockwave, telling Wheeljack and Carly, "It was me who left Jazz and Cliffjumper behind, and I will not leave them again." Meanwhile, we see Vortex, Swindle, Blastoff, and Shockwave talking. Shockwave says, "Then do away with the pest and let's get back to business." We then see Optimus Prime charging back into the fight, taking Vortex as his first target. He grabs Vortex by the head and smashes him into the ground, then shoots Swindle and knocks over Blastoff. The three Decepticons beat and flee like cowards. Shockwave yells, "Cowards, stand and fight." Optimus Prime's undeterred says, "Come on," setting the stage for the long-awaited rematch between him and Shockwave. Shockwave threatens Cliffjumper as Optimus approaches, but Prime blasts his arm off with Megatron's fusion cannon. Shockwave's hand is removed and Optimus Prime says, "Is this all you do, Shockwave? Ratchet, Magnus, life," as he tosses the gun aside. Optimus Prime says, "All you do is take away what is good." As he addresses Soundwave, suddenly Soundwave leaps from above, but Prime counters with a belly-to-belly slam, pinning him to the floor. He proceeds savagely ground and pound him, delivering blow after blow. Boom, 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 with relentless force. Grabbing Soundwave's cyclopean head, Optimus is overtaken by a vision of himself holding a small human baby. Spike, but the vision warps into a nightmare, his hands morphing into claws and baby entangled in wire. Overwhelmed, Prime crushes Shockwave's head with his bare hand. Optimus Prime's eyes glows an uncharacteristic purple as his hands remain inside Shockwave's caved-in head. Cliffjumper calls out, "Optimus!" but Prime stunned, responds, "What have I done?" Elita One approaches saying, "Welcome back to the war, Optimus Prime. I finally see your old self returning." Prime shakes his head, replying, "No, I am not like that anymore, Elita. Something came over me. I don't know what it was." With Cybertron returning to its proper place in the galaxy, Optimus picks up Cliffjumper and prepares to head back to Earth. Optimus Prime says, "Let's go home." As the portal explodes, it's revealed that Elita One was the one who shot it. Elita One says, "You are home, Optimus." Optimus Prime, confused, questions her. "What?" Elita One responds, "We need you here. The Autobot resistance needs you here. All the Energon taken. We can use it together." Optimus says, "No, not like this," as he tries to activate the charge to destroy the harvester, but nothing happens. Elita reveals she never set the charges. "Don't bother, Optimus," she says. "I never set the charges in the first place. The Earth has so much to give. Look at all the energy we've already taken." Optimus Prime, shocked, replies, "Energon taken by Shockwave. You're willing to feed Cybertron with the blood of their planet." Elita One responds, "When it's dying of thirst, yes. You think I want this? You think I want to force your hand? So many have died, Optimus. It has to mean something. This could be that something. With the Energon Shockwave collected using the harvester, she believes they can strike back against the Decepticons and revive their planet. Cybertron's energy shortage, first revealed in Void Rivals issue 4 and expanded upon in issue 7, has been a key issue. Optimus, who has prioritized the need of Earth over the Autobots owned throughout the series, rips the cannon as he faces this decision once more. Optimus Prime says, "Earth needs me. Earth needs us." Elita One, pleading, replies, "Please, your people need you. I need you." As Optimus raises the cannon, Elita gently holds onto it, still pleading with him. Optimus Prime, with a heavy heart, says, "I'm sorry, Elita." She responds, "Don't abandon us again." He then aims his fusion cannon at the Energon reserves and fires. The shot reaches the Energon and the harvester, igniting all the reserves and causing a massive explosion that knocks everyone back. The Energon detonates, serving the connection between the harvesters. As the dust settles, Elita says, "You choose." Elita sees the portal closing, and with her head down, she says, "You chose Earth over us." Elita One had lived through hell on Cybertron, witnessing its destruction and the Autobots' relentless defeat. Her life became a torn battlefield, and she herself was falling apart in her dying world. Elita had allowed the war to change her for the worse. Her relationship with Optimus Prime had fallen apart long ago, and she struggled to trust him after he left Cybertron. Her emotions towards him were filled with anger and disapproval. In her mind, Optimus, the Autobots' leader, had abandoned their home, and people making him nothing but a deserter in her eyes. She believed he no longer had what it took to defeat the Decepticons. Elita frequently brought up this distrust, not only in battle and commanding Optimus to leave his wounded, but also when discussing the war with him. Once the two had been romantic partners, often depicted as strong warriors who worked well together, but now their relationship was broken beyond repair. Optimus never apologized for his actions, and Elita never forgave him. These two leaders found themselves at an impasse, caught at different points in their lives, yet trapped in the same war-torn conflict. Distrust clouded their bond. After defeating Shockwave, Elita realized the potential of Earth's resources. Rather than stopping Shockwave's plan, she intended to use his equipment for her own cause, to bleed the human planet dry in the hopes of saving Cybertron. She had become consumed by the war, willing to do anything to end it, no matter the cost, including countless innocent lives. Elita pleaded with Optimus not to forsake her on their home after decades of war and the thousands of lives lost. She was no longer the Iron Warrior they once knew. She had become a victim of the war, herself helpless, rejected, and exhausted. As the Autobot leader, Optimus Prime, falls, the portal closes, blasting off a massive chunk of Cybertron. The debris begin plummeting into Earth's atmosphere, along with Optimus Prime. As Optimus Prime begins to burn up re-entry, he wonders, if this is the end of my spark, then I thank the Primes that this will be my last sight. As he watches the sun rise, suddenly a voice calls out, "I know Optimus." His sentiment is shared by Beachcomber, who says, "This place reveals new beauties every moment." As he rockets up to Prime on his surfboard, he grabs the Autobot leader's hand. The pair thread down to the surface, with Optimus looking in horror at what he's done as the massive piece of Cybertron crashes into the ocean. Optimus Prime sees the piece of Cybertron sinking into the ocean and says, "What have I done?" Presented by Skybound Entertainment and distributed by Image Comics, Transformers Volume 4, Issue issue 13, the next arc in the Energon Universe.